All right, in a rare instance, I have two stories for you that are actually both good news. Good news, and I always have to give like the what's the opposite of a silver lining? I don't know what the phrase is or if there is a phrase, but I have to give the fucking poop lining here, and that is the circumstances for these rulings, for these stories to begin with should have just never been a thing. All right, but given the circumstances that we are in, these are two good stories. First, we have a federal judge ruling on the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and we also have a judge ruling on the deportation of Mohsen Mahdawi. So let's go ahead and get into the first story about Abrego Garcia. He was the person who was living in the U.S., well, currently is, on a legal work permit, and he was just one day abducted by ICE and then sent straight to CCOT, a prison in El Salvador, which I would personally refer to as a concentration camp or a slave labor camp at the very least. And in fact, he documented instances in a court, in a court letter showed of multiple instances where he was tortured and witnessed others being tortured. All right, so after some pressure and some pushback, shouts out to Senator Chris Van Hollen. Really, he gained a lot of respect, man. Like, a lot of respect for going down there and being like the front force of getting his release. Anyways, they brought him back, charged him with some bullshit charges, and they know the charges are bullshit, so they've been trying to deport him by their own admission before the trial even were to take place. All right, let's get into it. Anyways, and by the way, prior to his deportation, no criminal convictions, no like suspected of any crimes, not charged or being investigated for anything. He had legal status at the time of his deportation. All right. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement cannot re-detain Kilmar Abrego Garcia because of a 90-day detention period has expired and the government has no viable plan for deporting him, a federal judge ruled on Tuesday. The government made one empty threat after another, remove him to countries in Africa with no real chance of success. Yeah, they were like, yeah, fuck it, let's send him to Libya, let's send him to South Sudan. Like, it just insane. Places he's never been. He's been living in the U.S. since he was like 15 years old. U.S. District Judge Paula Zinas in Maryland wrote in her Tuesday order, from this, the court easily concludes that there is no good reason to believe removal is likely in the reasonably foreseeable future. Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin, fuck off. Rest in peace, bitch. Rest in peace. We're gonna be covering a story also later today about her departure from her position as the fucking chief co-liar of the Trump administration. Anyways, criticized the ruling in an email, and just one last good quote from good old fucking Tricia McLaughlin before she leaves us. If this matter were actually about the law or due process, Kilmar Abrego Garcia would already be deported and would never set foot in this country again. Judge Zinas will not be satisfied until he is authorized to live in the United States forever, she wrote. Yeah, it's almost like he has gained that right at this point. He had a legal status. You sent him to a prison when he wasn't even a criminal or charged of anything. And you specifically sent him to a prison in a country that he was specifically barred from ever being sent to again. Like, he has earned permanent green card status. All right, there is no ifs, ands, or buts. And he's also earned, I'd say, adequate compensation from the government for all the fucking terror that we have put him through. Like, if law and order or due process was a thing, Tricia McLaughlin, you would be in prison. Kristi Noem would be in prison. Donald Trump would be in prison. All right, fuck you. Fucking God, she's such a bitch. She is such a bitch. I'm so, like, they're just going to replace her with some other fucking mouthpiece who's fucking a degenerate liar. But God, I love to see him go. In her Tuesday order, Zinas noted the government has purposely and for no reason ignored the one country that has consistently offered to accept Abrego Garcia as a refugee and to which he agrees to go. The country is Costa Rica. It's crazy that someone has to leave the United States as a refugee. Other countries have to be like, yeah, we'll take a refugee from the United States. My God, we really are a fucking failed country. Fucking shithole. Jesus Christ. If that offends you, I'm sorry. You can call me not patriotic, but I'm more patriotic than any of these conservative motherfuckers because I actually want what's good for the country. I actually want to improve it, and I want to improve the life of the average American. I want to give everyone universal health care. I want to give everyone access to free higher education. I want anyone who works full-time to have a livable minimum wage. What do you want? What do you want? You want fucking military men in the street black bagging and abducting people and fucking God knows what. Like, Jesus Christ. Since, oh wait, no. Abrego Garcia's attorney, Simon Sandoval Moschenberg, argued in court that the immigration detention is not supposed to be punishment. Immigrants can only be detained as a way to facilitate their deportation and cannot be held indefinitely with no viable deportation plan. I'm going to be honest, I could be wrong on this. I don't really like his lawyer, like, at all. I mean, credit to where he has gotten him so far. But his lawyer, like, preconceded, it's like, yeah, we're fine with you sending him to Costa Rica as a refugee. No, that is a non-starter. Him leaving the country is a non-starter. The only starter in this conversation is permanent residency and compensation. Since Judge Zionist ordered Mr. Abrego Garcia released in mid-December, the government has tried one trick after another to try and get him re-detained. He wrote in an email on Tuesday. In her decision today, she recognized that if the government were truly trying to remove Mr. Abrego Garcia from the United States, they would have sent him to Costa Rica long before today. Like, I always get this vibe from him where he's just like giving up. He's like, all right, we're going to send you to Costa Rica with nothing. Fuck your family, fuck your kids. Like, I'm sorry, lawyer, you've been doing good enough for where we're at, but like, come on, man, what the fuck are you doing? You have the clearest and cleanest shut case to keep him in this country. Don't be a fucking pussy. All right. U.S. judge blocks deportation of Palestinian activist Mohsen Mahdawi. An immigration judge has blocked the Trump administration from deporting Mohsen Mahdawi, a 34-year-old Columbian University student and pro-Palestinian activist who was arrested last year during a U.S. citizenship interview in Vermont. This one's even more okay, no, it's not even more fucked up because Abrego Garcia literally got tortured. But this one's also pretty fucked up because Mohsen Mahdawi is someone who is here on a permanent green card. Permanent. In fact, he was in the process of becoming a naturalized U.S. citizen. This dude has done nothing except for speak out against Israel's genocide. That's it. And he got labeled as a terrorist supporter, anti-Semitic, all this bullshit stuff. When you can just simply look up anything he's wrote, you can look up any of his speeches, any of his interviews, and I challenge you, find me one anti-Semitic thing. Find me one thing that's even a wink and a nod to fucking supporting terrorism. I'll wait. So anyways, after his colleague, his friend, Mahmoud Khalil got detained and arrested, Mohsen Mahdawi kind of went into hiding. He was like, I'm afraid to leave my home because as soon as I leave, I feel like I'm going to get arrested. So a couple of weeks of just chilling in his home, he gets an email saying like, oh, we're ready to conduct like your final citizenship interview to like finally get you as a naturalized American citizen. And he actually had a news reporter with him. And he's like, I'm going to be honest. I feel like this is a honeypot. I feel like they are going to arrest me when I go to this meeting to continue or finish the process of becoming a naturalized U.S. citizen. Guess what? This was all recorded by the reporter that he brought with him. Show up, goes into the immigration office, and then 5 minutes later, you had 4 or 5 black SUVs roll up. Federal agents walk in and they arrest him. For what? Nothing. Free speech. I'm grateful to the court for honoring the rule of law and holding the line against the government's attempts to trample on due process. Mahdawi, who is a permanent U.S. resident or green card holder, said in a statement. He continued, this decision is an important step towards upholding what fear tried to destroy, the right to speak for peace and justice. Nearly a year ago, I was detained at my citizenship interview, not for breaking the law, but for speaking out against the genocide of Palestinians. And that is absolutely right. That's why Mahmoud Khalil was arrested. That is why Ramesa Ozturk was arrested. 2 people who are the sweetest. Like I watched their interviews and seen their work. We're talking about like the 3 sweetest people in this country. Like the truly like what we as American citizens should be striving to be. Like these are good people. Okay. All right. The judge, Nina Froze, had ruled last Friday that the evidence that the Trump administration had submitted to the court was not admissible due to an inability to meet its burden of proving removability. According to the judge's order, the government failed to properly authenticate a memorandum purported to be signed by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Mahdawi was born and raised in a refugee camp in the occupied West Bank and immigrated to the U.S. over a decade ago. In 2021, he enrolled at Columbia University in New York, where he was the president of the Buddhist Association and co-founded the Palestinian Student Union. He was arrested by Immigrations and Customs Enforcement in April of last year and held in detention for over 2 weeks based on the government's citation of an obscure provision of immigration law that seeks to revoke legal status of individuals deemed threats to U.S. foreign policy. He was never charged with a crime. Yeah, so I can't hammer this into people's heads enough. You are considered a threat to U.S. foreign policy if you speak out against the genocide that we are funding with our tax dollars. Insane. Like, again, shithole country. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I hate this so much. Judge Froze's decision is the latest blow to the Trump administration's campaign to deport students involved in pro-Palestinian activism. Earlier this month, an immigration judge ruled that the Trump administration is unable to deport Romesa Ozturk, a Turkish student at Tufts University in Boston who co-authored a story in the school newspaper that was critical of Israel. And that was it. That was literally it. I don't think she had much of a public profile prior to that. But like, that was it. I read the entire op-ed. I did a video on it last year. We read the entire thing. All right. And even if this wasn't there, it still wouldn't be acceptable. But it's not even like she gave a wink and a nod to Hamas or any form of Palestinian resistance, which under international law is 100% legal. She didn't even give a wink and a nod to that. She did nothing to that you could even like misinterpret. Insane. Just absolutely insane. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.